Good evening. This is Wednesday, February 1st, 2023, first day of Black History Month 2023. We're at Ujima Wednesdays, and we are at our co-direct. So for tonight, we actually mostly have announcements. We may have a bit of a discussion item. We have some additional team members here, so definitely if there are some announcements or some discussion items I missed, definitely invite you to let me know. But first up, and I'll put in the chat also what I'm thinking, just so everyone can have the preview, and you can let me know if there's anything that I'm missing. First up, would like to announce that we successfully met quorum and closed out our Kush Groove investment ballot on Friday, January 27th. And so we would like to thank all of our voting members who participated. We would like to thank the team, staff members who helped to get out the vote, who made calls, who sent texts, who sent emails. We would also like to thank voting members and Solidarity members who did the same, who helped to get out the vote, who made calls, who sent texts, who sent emails. I think we're getting better and better at getting out the vote. This took us 2.5 weeks. I think this is our second vote that took us 2.5 weeks. And we want to just aim to kind of get better with time and participation over time. We will have the results of the ballot out. I do believe, if not next week, the following week, we'll send out a dedicated email, and we will also update our investment pipeline status page on our necessary systems website with the ballot results, as well as the breakdown of who voted, as well as what people said. So we also got, I was really pleased to see we had just some really thoughtful responses to the ballot. So people who let us know why they were supporting the investment, people who let us know why they didn't want to support the investment, people who let us know why they had some concerns about the investment. Just really appreciated everyone taking the time to be really thoughtful about this decision. And I'll just pause here to see if there are any questions or any reflections about this item before I move on to the next one. Okay, I'll move to the next item. So the next item, I do want to preview our next investment opportunity that we will be letting members know about, just to get you ready. So I talked about how we met quorum on Kush Groove. We had a really good effort. It is a tremendous effort. It's a lot of work. So one of the reasons why we do want to just get better with participation and time over time is because we also do want to just be able to decrease the labor that goes into getting these votes to quorum, particularly as we do anticipate we will be unveiling more and more investment opportunities to members. So we want to preview you now that we are talking with Comfort Kitchen about investment. We are aiming to have that credit memo ready for members to view and to give their first set of questions and reactions to February 10th, with the investment opportunity memo going out, I want to say maybe a couple of weeks after that. And Louise has just dropped in the chat that Comfort Kitchen was in today's Globe food section. So thank you for letting us know that, Louise. And if anyone can find the link to drop in the chat, that would be great. But yeah, Comfort Kitchen, on that note, opened this month. So they opened January 25th. They've opened to quite a bit of fanfare, including from us. We have a lot of people in Boston who are really excited about Comfort Kitchen, and they are seeking an investment. So we do hope that excitement and people's desire to support them translates into quick and deep participation. So just want to let you know that that's coming. There'll be a Comfort Kitchen investment ballot going out sometime this month. And I'll pause to see if there are any questions or reflections for this item. All right, and Ray has found the article. Thank you so much, Ray. Posted there in the chat. I think there's also an article in Eater, if I'm not mistaken, and I recall I think there were two articles in Eater, and then this one in the Boston Globe today. So super exciting. Also encourage you share it if you're on social, share the article. Uh, Comfort Kitchen is a member of the Business Alliance, so this is what makes them eligible for investment from us. So we want to do our part again to generate as much excitement and translate that into customers for them as possible. Thank you so much, Ray. Okay, this next item, I want to turn over to either Gio or Mary. And Ray just dropped the Eater article in the chat. Thank you so much, Ray. The next item is an update on our member feedback survey. So I'll kick it over to either Gio or Mary to give us an update on that.
Thank you, Nia. Hey everybody, the member feedback survey was supposed to close today, but it's been a struggle to get folks to respond. And so if you haven't already taken it, please take it. But we are going to be extending it to the middle of February, just to get some more folks to fill it out because we know that the Kush Crew vote was happening at the same time. And so want to just recognize some members who weren't able to get everything in. So we really appreciate folks voting. I'm not voting, but also taking the feedback survey. Yes.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, it's a different kind of vote. Thank you, Mary. So again, I don't know how many people we've had complete the survey so far, but I can say the responses have been thoughtful. So we really do appreciate people taking the time to be thoughtful, to provide input that we can act upon, that we can be responsive to, and that allows us to understand your experiences better. It's a super simple survey. It's I think 10 questions, if I'm not mistaken. How many questions is it?
Yeah, it's like 10 questions.
It's 10 questions. So it's one of the easier surveys that you'll have to complete in your life. So hopefully, particularly, for example, if you participated in the Kush Groove vote, I would say it's probably even simpler because with the Kush Groove vote, you have to read the investment memo. This, we're just asking you to think a little bit about your experience over the past year or so, and let us know how it went. Okay, next item is just want to give you a preview of what's happening this month for our political and education workshops. The theme this month is recession and inflation. Very timely theme. I would say our aim, and anyone on the team, feel free to correct me if I get this wrong. I would say our aim with this workshop is yes, to provide some kind of fundamental grounding. So thinking about, for example, how one defines an inflation, how one defines a recession, but to not also just be kind of sticking to conventional notions of recession and inflation, but really to try to center the conversation in our communities. So I think we're thinking about some redefining, and we also want to try to have conversations with people, not just about what these things are, and not just about how they are or how we think they will impact us, but also what we can do. So what are some, I guess I would say, kind of what are some proactive actions? That's a terrible phrase, but what are some proactive actions that we can take, I would say particularly collectively, to I guess I would say kind of survive and hopefully more than survive in this moment. So I'll pause just in case there's anything team members want to add to my description before I talk about who we've lined up. Yeah, go ahead, Gio.
Yeah, and what I really wanted to add to support, like, just the assembly approach that we're taking to political and financial education, is that This is not, your and then buy my book at the end, approach. Even though we love literature at Ujima, and please buy all the books. But yeah, part of these community approaches is that we're not just presenting the problem and being like, okay, let's all be sad together at the same designated time. We are like in actively investing in cooperative solutions, such as the mission of Ujima itself. So I know that that may be a shared hesitation among community members. Well, I already know that there is a recession. I already know that things suck economically. Just keep working harder. And we would like you all to know that yes, like you could work, but like let's work together. Let's share these tips of literacy, financial literacy. Share these tips to help shield our communities from a lot of economic, like without calling them outright economic attacks, just economic harms that are perpetuated in our capitalist society. So hoping that the speakers that Nia's going to highlight will help us come to some shared conclusions.
Thank you, Gio. Wonderfully said. Thank you. So on that note, here's who we have lined up so far. So next Wednesday, joining us will be Elijah Miller, who is the Director of Policy for the City of Boston. And so along those lines, Elijah and the team that he works with, the Office of Economic Opportunity and Inclusion, they are steadily working on initiatives to, increase economic well-being in the city. And what he will talk about is also how they are thinking about working with communities, and I would say particularly communities of color, on initiatives very specifically designed to carry people through the recession, and or I shouldn't say the recession as if it's a foregone conclusion, but what we, what many of us think will be a recession upcoming, and what will probably be labeled as a recession, kind of in terms of moments of the recent moments that we've just come through. So thinking about how to essentially ensure, or not ensure, but really kind of try to do their best to make sure that communities are not negatively impacted, and are not left behind. And so I think it'll be interesting to get a local government perspective on what's possible in terms of response. So that'll be next Wednesday. So Elijah Miller, Director of Policy with the Office of Economic Inclusion and Opportunity at the City of Boston. The following week, February 15th, we will hear from Dr. Sharice Nelson. And I think I'm gonna maybe kick it back to you, Gio, to tell us a little more about Dr. Nelson.
I'll be completely honest, and I actually do not know much of this particular speaker. Genoa and James were the main ones on that
Okay.
one. I'd be happy to speak about the next one when I get permission. Yeah.
Okay, great, Gio. And
I apologize.
oh yeah, no worries. I actually thought Dr. Nelson was one of your suggestions. So I don't know too much about Dr. Nelson either. But Dr. Sharice Nelson is on deck for the following Wednesday, February 15th. And Louise put in the chat, what about debt limit and if we don't pay bills? So what I will say about that, Louise, is I can say who else we reached out to, but maybe I should pause, and because Gio, you said you're ready to speak about the next person, and right now we have that as TBA, so I don't know if that's been confirmed. So first I'll kick it to Gio.
Yes. And so I'm really happy to announce, and yes, there was confirmation that happened in literally like the last like few hours. So that's probably why. And I just got a text from Paige reaffirming that it's okay to share it this evening. All right. So we're really happy to announce that Dr. Leon Prieto will be joining us for February 22nd. I'll be dropping his name, as well as a really great YouTube video recorded of a presentation he gave on African American cooperative management, pretty much tying together traditions with of Black communities within the United States of cooperative economics, connecting them to actually African-centered traditions of cooperative economics, and even examples from his own home country of Trinidad and Tobago and other Caribbean forms, other Caribbean approaches to just like pretty much like communal like advantages, even like under colonial domination, capitalism, etc., etc. So really excited to connect with him. Definitely felt the Ujima spirit coming through the emails and in the video. And you can see the bio. Nia pasted. Nia, I feel like you're your own internet connection sometimes.
I type fast.
That's
I'm
6G.
a I'm a 80s kid who had to take typing classes before the internet. Thank you, Gio. So that's great. Yeah. And then I'll just read the first sentence of his bio that I found. So Dr. Leon Prieto is a professor of management and the director of the Center for Social Innovation and Sustainable Entrepreneurship in the College of Business at Clayton State University. So exciting. And Louise, I think we can probably ask Dr. Prieto that question about the debt limit and what happens if we don't pay bills. I want to say, I think he'll be able to answer. And I even want to say, I think so will Dr. Nelson, even though unfortunately I'm not in position to say more about her. So that's February. So super exciting. Even though the topic is a heavy one. So definitely, I would say mark your calendars and let people know about it. And then just really quickly, just some more previews of upcoming workshops. March will be Public Finance Month. And so in March, we will have activists who we've heard from in October, where they talked about bonds. They will be coming back for 2 sessions. One session will be on participatory budgeting, where they will actually be walking us through Boston's what they call, I don't know what the acronyms mean offhand, but they call it the CAVS report. So kind of walking us through that report and doing an exercise where we would essentially be making the recommendations about what to change in terms of budgetary allocations. And then they're going to join us another week, and we're still working to nail down whether that will be the 3rd or the 4th week, where they will be talking about a pilot. I think many people know we have a pilot campaign here in the city, so they'll be talking about pilot and abatement. And we are still working to confirm a speaker for one of the weeks in March, but March will be Public Finance Month. May, and I'm skipping April because that's going to be our assembly month, so I'll talk about that separately. May will be Time Banking and Mutual Aid Month. So again, just to get you marking your calendars and really just taking note of what topics you want to make sure you show up for. This month is Recession and Inflation. March is Public Finance Month, and May is Time Banking and Mutual Aid Month. April is also, and I'll pause after this. April is also our assembly month, and our assembly theme is all about love, community care. So again, I will invite team members to add more to that if they'd like to. We're throwing around a bunch of different exciting ideas with regards to the political and financial education workshops, and who those speakers will be. We will also be having a signature event, possibly 2, one that will be focusing on time banking, and another that will be focusing on community care. And again, I invite a team member to talk to us a little bit more about that event if they feel comfortable. We will also be having a vote where we will be asking members to approve investment partners. So this is a vote that we try to hold back in 2019, and this was one of 4 votes where we had what we call our epic ballot in 2019, where we were asking members 4 questions at one time. That question was the last question, and it was just shy of quorum. And we actually made the decision to just go ahead and call that one a failed vote. And so we're bringing that back in April because we have peers who are doing just interesting things in interesting areas on the investment front. And so we do want to be able to take advantage and participate in some investment opportunities that won't necessarily come through our assembly process. And so that is something that we'll be voting on in April. And I'll also just say right now, we do know for sure we will want volunteers for the April assembly. And so just want to start to get people ready to start thinking about that we will want volunteers to be helpful, for example, with our signature events, and again, being helpful in helping to get out the vote. And then finally, I think the thing that I want to say about the April Assembly is we will be reaching out to partners to talk about what their participation will be in the Assembly. So we'll be reaching out to them to see if they have any offerings that they'd like to present under the umbrella of All About Love Community Care. And so I'll pause there for any reflections, any questions, and also invite team members who would like to add any additional context to do so. Okay, so it looks like there are no questions or reflections. So this will take us to the end of today's co-direct. Thank you, Ray. Ray said nailed it. Gio said I'm extra excited for April. And I'll just leave last couple of minutes for my team members. If there are any additional items that I didn't cover tonight that you would like to just raise really quickly, I want to go ahead and give you the floor before we close out.
Would it be appropriate to share something that's not originating from Ujima?
Sure, like an announcement.
Yeah, like a
Yeah.
community announcement.
Yeah.
It's just for this Friday. There's been an effort being organized by artists and organizers. It's called Mics for the Missing. And it's about the silent epidemic of missing Black and Indigenous people of color, particularly women, femmes, non-men in this group that go missing at a alarming rate. And the organizers and myself and multiple people feel that this is an issue that is not adequately addressed by law enforcement, government, etc. And so this event is taking place this Friday, February 3rd. There will be music, there will be speaking, and it's at District Hall, 75 Northern Ave in Boston from 6 to 10. I'll drop the details in the chat. But yeah, it is a pretty it's a pretty important ongoing issue.
Thank you so much, Gio. And if there isn't anything else, we will sign off. And those of us who are hanging around for round 2, we have a little bit of a break, so we'll just take a little bit of a break before we come back for round 2. And thank you so much. And the Mics for the Missing link is in the chat. All right, have a good night. We'll sign off of co-direct and we'll take a break before we get to round 2. And I will stop the recording.